9 Japanese Zeros. 1 American Hellcat. No backup, no retreat. Lieutenant Robert Murray sees them first. A V formation climbing through 12,000 feet, 30 miles north of Iwo Jima. He's alone. His radio is dead. His fuel gauge reads 20 minutes. The maintenance crew will later count 109 bullet holes in his aircraft. He'll land with 6 kills. This is how he survived. February 16th, 1945, 15:20 hours. The Pacific Theater, USS Bennington, Task Force 58. 23-year-old Lieutenant Robert Hampton Murray is 42 minutes into a routine combat air patrol when his radio fails. Standard protocol: abort the mission, return to carrier. Murray doesn't abort. Instead, he continues his patrol vector and flies directly into 9 Japanese A-6M-0 fighters returning from a raid on the American fleet. The engagement lasts 11 minutes. The after-action report was classified for 28 years, not because of what Murray did to the enemy, but because of how he did it, using a tactic that naval aviators weren't supposed to know, a tactic that, if widely adopted, would have gotten hundreds of pilots killed. To understand why Murray's survival depended on breaking every rule he'd been taught, we need to go back to a small town in Oklahoma. Okmulgee, Oklahoma, population 18,000. Robert Hampton Murray was born there on May 3, 1921. His father worked the oil fields. His mother ran a boarding house during the Depression. Murray grew up watching barnstormers at the county fair, pre-war crop dusters who'd pull aerobatic stunts for $5 a show. He didn't dream of being a fighter pilot. He wanted a steady paycheck. December 7, 1941 changed that calculation. Murray was a sophomore at Oklahoma A&M studying mechanical engineering when Pearl Harbor was attacked. He enlisted in the Navy on December 12th, not because of patriotic fervor, but because Navy pilots got better pay than Army Air Corps pilots, $75 a month versus $60. The math was simple. Naval Air Station Pensacola, Florida, March 1942. Murray enters primary flight training with 378 other cadets. The washout rate is 40%. Murray's instructors note he's methodical, almost plodding in his approach. He doesn't have natural talent. What he has is patience and an engineer's mind for systems. He graduates on November 19, 1942, with 214 flight hours. Average for his class, 197. Advanced Carrier Training, NAS Glenview, Illinois, January-April 1943. This is where Murray meets the F-6F Hellcat. He describes it in a letter home. Flies like a truck, turns like a school bus, but it's built like a brick outhouse, and it brings you home. The Hellcat isn't elegant. It doesn't have the Zero's maneuverability or the Corsair's speed. What it has is survivability. Self-sealing fuel tanks, armor plating behind the pilot seat, a Pratt & Whitney R2800 engine that can take a dozen 7.7mm rounds and keep running. Murray qualifies for carrier operations on April 7, 1943, his 5th attempt. He catches the 3-wire on USS Wolverine, a converted paddle wheel steamer used for training on Lake Michigan. His landing signal officer writes, "Adequate, consistent, no flare." USS Bennington, CV-20, January 1945. By the time Murray joins Fighting Squadron 82 aboard Bennington, he has 847 flight hours and 0 combat experience. Most of his squadron mates are on their 2nd or 3rd combat tours. Several are aces, 5 kills or more. Murray is called Old Man, despite being 23, not because of his age, but because he flies like someone's cautious grandfather. He follows protocols, he double-checks fuel calculations, and he lands with more reserve ammunition than anyone else in the squadron. His squadron commander, Lieutenant Commander William Rawi, writes in Murray's evaluation, "Solid pilot, not aggressive, unlikely to be first ace in squadron." February 1945, the Iwo Jima campaign.
Task Force 58, the largest carrier strike force in history, is supporting the Marine invasion of Iwo Jima. Bennington launches round-the-clock patrols to intercept Japanese aircraft coming from mainland bases 750 miles north of the carrier. Most intercepts happen in large formations, 12 to 16 American fighters versus similar Japanese numbers. Numerical advantage, coordinated tactics, radio communication. Murray has flown 19 combat air patrols in February. He's fired his guns twice, both times at extreme range. No hits confirmed. He's seen enemy aircraft 11 times, always at a distance. He's still looking for his first kill. February 16, 1945, 14:38 hours. Bennington launches a 4-plane combat air patrol. Murray is flying F-6F-3, Hellcat, bureau number 42874, call sign Rebel 4. Mission: Patrol Sector Charlie 7, a 900 square mile box of ocean 60 miles northwest of the carrier. Duration: 2 hours. Expected enemy contact: low probability. The patrol is uneventful until 15:09 hours, when Murray's radio emits a loud pop and goes silent. He checks circuit breakers. All good. He toggles the radio selector. Nothing. Dead. Standard operating procedure is clear. Aboard patrol, return to carrier using visual signals. Murray doesn't abort. Later, he'll tell debriefers, "I figured I'd complete the patrol. Radio failure didn't change the mission." This decision, stubborn adherence to the flight plan despite a critical equipment failure, saves his life. If he'd turned back, he would have been alone and defensive when the Zeros found him. Instead, he's where he's supposed to be, on patrol, in an offensive mindset. 15-20 hours. Murray spots them at 12,000 feet, 6 miles north. 9 aircraft in a loose V formation, heading south-southeast toward the American fleet. He identifies them immediately. A6M50 fighters. Distinctive elliptical wings, light-colored camouflage. They're returning from a strike mission. He can tell because they're in cruise formation, not combat spread. Murray has 2 choices: break radio silence to alert the fleet, or engage. Except he can't break radio silence. His radio is dead. He banks toward the formation and begins his climb.
15-21 hours. Altitude: 11,200 feet. Murray approaches from the Zeros 7 o'clock. Behind and below their formation, the afternoon sun is at his back. Textbook approach. He closes to 2,000 feet before the trailing Zero pilot sees him. The Japanese formation explodes outward. 3 Zeros break left, 3 break right, 3 climb straight ahead. Standard defensive split. It forces the attacker to commit to one group while the others reposition for counterattack. Murray commits to the climbers. He shoves his throttle forward. The R-2800 engine roars to full power, 2,000 horsepower. The Hellcat accelerates, but the Zeros climb faster. The A6M5 has a power-to-weight ratio the Hellcat can't match. At low speeds and high angles of attack, the Zero climbs like an elevator. The Hellcat climbs like a freight train, slowly building momentum. Murray watches the 3 Zeros pull away vertically. He's losing the angle. In 5 seconds, they'll stall, flip over, and dive on him from above with every advantage. This is the moment where Murray breaks the rules. Instead of continuing the climb or diving away, both standard defensive tactics, he does something his instructors specifically told him never to do. He chops his throttle to idle. The Hellcat's nose drops. Murray pushes the stick forward, bunts into a negative G parabola. His body lifts against the shoulder straps. Dust and debris float upward in the cockpit. The engine coughs. The carburetor can't feed fuel properly during negative G loads, but the maneuver works. Murray's airspeed bleeds off instantly, 240 miles per hour to 180 miles per hour in 2 seconds. The Zeros, committed to their vertical climb, overshoot. They're now 400 feet above him, out of position Zero energy. In a stall. Murray rolls inverted, pulls back on the stick, positive Gs now, and tracks the nearest zero through his gun sight. 600 rounds of .50 caliber ammunition remaining. He fires a 2-second burst. 72 rounds. API, armor-piercing incendiary. The rounds converge at 300 feet. Tracers arc into the Zero's left wing root. The Zero doesn't explode. Japanese fighters rarely do unless you hit fuel tanks directly. Instead, the wing folds upward at an impossible angle. The Zero snap rolls to the left and enters a flat spin. Murray doesn't watch it go down. He's already tracking the second Zero. 15:22 a.m. The remaining 8 Zeros are no longer trying to escape. They're engaging. Murray sees muzzle flashes from his 10 o'clock, a Zero firing from 600 feet, high deflection shot. Tracers stream past his canopy, yellow-white streaks. None connect. The Zero is firing too early, too far, bad angle. Murray doesn't return fire. He rolls right, pulls 5 Gs, reverses left. The Zero follows, but it's turning inside him. The A6M's tighter turn radius means it's closing the angle faster than Murray can open it. This is the fundamental problem with fighting Zeros in a Hellcat. The Zero turns at 16 degrees per second at 230 miles per hour. The Hellcat turns at 11 degrees per second at the same speed. In a turning fight, a dogfight, the Zero wins. Always. The mathematics are unforgiving. American fighter doctrine addresses this with a single rule. Never dogfight a Zero. Use speed and altitude. Make one pass, then extend away. Murray can't extend away. There are 8 of them and 1 of him. If he runs, they'll chase him for 40 miles until his fuel runs out, then kill him when he's too slow to maneuver. So Murray does the second thing he's not supposed to do. He turns into them. He spots 2 Zeros setting up for an overhead run. They're at 13,000 feet, converting altitude for speed for a diving attack. Murray pulls his nose up, 30 degrees above the horizon, and fires a long burst. 4 seconds. 144 rounds. He's not aiming at the Zeros. He's aiming at the space they're diving into. The lead Zero flies directly through Murray's bullet stream. It's not skill, it's geometry. Murray calculated where the Zero would be in 2 seconds and put bullets there first. Rounds punch through the Zero's cowling, into the engine. White smoke, coolant or oil. The Zero rolls inverted and dives away, trailing vapor. 484 rounds remaining. Murray reverses hard left. The Hellcat shudders. He's pulling 6 Gs, right at the airframe limit. His vision narrows. Gray creeps in from the periphery. He grunts, forced exhale against the G-load, keeps blood in his brain. A Zero overshoots above him. Murray eases the Gs, rolls right, tracks it. The Zero pilot realizes his mistake and brakes hard left. 7 Gs, maybe 8. The Zero's lighter airframe can handle it. Murray follows at 4 Gs. He can't match the Zero's turn rate, but he doesn't need to. He's not trying to follow. He's trying to lead. He fires where the Zero is going, not where it is. 3-second burst. 108 rounds. Hits along the fuselage. The Zero's canopy shatters. The aircraft snaps right. Control surface damage, probably the aileron, and noses over into a steep dive. 376 rounds remaining. 3 kills. 5 Zeros left. 15:23 a.m. Murray's wingman would normally be covering him right now, watching his 6 o'clock, calling out threats, providing mutual support. Murray doesn't have a wingman. He sees tracers from his right, 2 Zeros converging from opposite directions, trying to catch him in a crossfire. If he turns away from one, he flies into the other's line of fire. Murray doesn't turn. He rolls inverted and pulls, not a turn but a split S. He's trading altitude for speed, diving away from both Zeros. The negative Gs hit again. Dust swirls, the engine coughs, but he's accelerating. 280 miles per hour, 320 miles per hour, 360 miles per hour. The Zeros follow, but they're slower in the dive. The Hellcat's weight is an advantage now. Gravity is free energy.
Murray opens the distance to 800 feet. At 6,000 feet, Murray pulls out of the dive. 7 Gs. His vision grays completely. He's flying blind for 2 seconds, pulling by feel. The stick vibrates. Airframe buffet. Stall warning. He eases back pressure. Vision returns. He's 800 feet above the ocean, 380 miles per hour, pointing east. The 2 Zeros are 1,200 feet behind him, also pulling out of their dives. Murray racks his aircraft into a hard right turn, the tightest turn he can manage at high speed. The Hellcat groans, 8 Gs. His G-suit inflates, compressing his legs and abdomen. His vision tunnels again, but he holds the turn. The Zeros follow, but at 380 miles per hour, the Zero's control surfaces stiffen. The faster it goes, the harder it is to turn. The Hellcat's hydraulically boosted controls don't have this problem. Murray is out-turning the Zeros at high speed. He completes a 360-degree turn and finds himself behind both Zeros. They've become his targets. He fires at the trailing Zero. 1 second burst, 36 rounds. Hits along the right wing. Fuel fire. Bright orange flame streaming backward. The Zero rolls inverted and impacts the ocean at 320 miles per hour.
1524 hours. Murray has been in combat for 3 minutes. He's breathing hard, not from fear, but from exertion. Every high G turn requires a forced exhale, a grunt, a tightening of every muscle. It's exhausting. His flight suit is soaked with sweat. The cockpit temperature is 95 degrees. He checks his fuel gauge. 12 minutes remaining. He needs to end this. The remaining 5 Zeros have stopped trying to coordinate. They're attacking individually now, each pilot fighting his own fight. This is good for Murray. 5 separate threats are easier to manage than one coordinated threat. A Zero makes a head-on pass. Both aircraft fire simultaneously. Murray's rounds converge at 400 feet. 6.5 caliber machine guns, all firing in a tight pattern. The Zero's rounds are lighter. 7.7 millimeter machine guns in the nose, 20 millimeter cannons in the wings, but they're less accurate at range. Rounds hit Murray's Hellcat. He hears the impacts. Sharp metallic pings along the fuselage. The canopy cracks. A bullet punches through the plexiglass, exits through the right side. The round passes 18 inches from Murray's head. He doesn't flinch. His rounds hit the Zero head-on. Engine, cockpit, firewall. The Zero's propeller disintegrates, shrapnel spinning outward. The Zero flips inverted and falls. 304 rounds remaining. 5 kills. 5 Zeros left. Murray's left leg is wet. He glances down. Hydraulic fluid, not blood. One of the rounds severed a hydraulic line. His landing gear indicator shows red. The gear won't extend normally. He'll have to crank it down manually when he lands. If he lands. 1525 hours. 2 Zeros attack from below. Murray sees them late. His attention is above and behind, where the other 2 Zeros are circling. Rounds hit his right wing. 6 impacts. The Hellcat rolls left. The wing is damaged, creating asymmetric lift. Murray applies right aileron to compensate. The stick feels mushy. Aileron damage, or control cable damage. He rolls toward the attacking Zeros. Counterintuitive, but it points his nose at them, brings his guns to bear. He fires a snapshot, 1 second burst, 36 rounds, and misses high. 268 rounds remaining.
196 rounds remaining. 6 kills. 3 Zeros left. 1526 hours. Murray's fuel gauge reads 8 minutes. His hydraulics are leaking. His right wing has visible damage. He can see through 2 holes in the wing skin. The remaining 3 Zeros are regrouping at 8,000 feet, 4,000 feet above him. Standard tactics say Murray should run, dive to sea level, use his speed to extend, hope he has enough fuel to reach the carrier. But if he runs, there's a chance, small but real, that these 3 Zeros will find the American fleet. They'll attack the carriers. They might sink one. Murray climbs. The Zeros see him coming. They split. 1 dives directly at him. 2 swing wide to attack from the flanks. Murray aims at the diving Zero. It's a difficult shot. High closure rate, changing angle. He waits until they're 600 feet apart, then fires. 3-second burst. 108 rounds. Hits on the fuselage and right wing. The Zero's wing sheds fabric. The A6M's wings are fabric covered, lightweight. Rounds tear through easily. The Zero rolls right and dives past Murray, trailing pieces of wing structure. 88 rounds remaining. 7 kills. 2 Zeros left. Murray doesn't see the other 2 Zeros until it's too late. They're behind him, both firing. Rounds hammer his Hellcat. Dozens of hits. Wings, fuselage, tail. The Hellcat shudders violently. Warning lights illuminate on the panel. Oil pressure dropping. Coolant temperature rising. Murray brakes hard right. His damaged aileron barely responds. He skids sideways through the turn, losing energy. 1 Zero overshoots. The other stays behind him, firing continuously. Murray hears the engine roughening. Metal on metal grinding. He's losing oil. The R2800 won't run much longer. He's out of options and nearly out of ammunition. So he does the third thing he's not supposed to do. He uses the technique his instructor demonstrated once during advanced training, with the warning, "This'll work once. Maybe, then you're dead." Murray slams his throttle to idle and extends his landing gear manually. The emergency crank, 18 turns. Desperately working it while the Zero closes behind him. The Hellcat's gear drops. The aircraft decelerates violently from 240 miles per hour to 180 miles per hour in 4 seconds. The dive brakes and drag from the gear create massive deceleration. The Zero overshoots. Murray has 3 seconds before the second Zero corrects and fires. He shoves his throttle forward. The damaged engine screams and fires his remaining ammunition at the Zero now in front of him. 88 rounds, all of them. The convergence is perfect. The Zero is 200 feet away. Level flight, no deflection. Every round hits. The Zero's engine explodes. Not burns, explodes. The cowling separates from the fuselage. Fire engulfs the cockpit. The Zero noses over and falls. 0 rounds remaining. 8 kills. 1 Zero left.
15:27 hours. Murray is flying a crippled Hellcat with no ammunition, failing hydraulics, a dying engine, and 6 minutes of fuel. The last Zero is somewhere behind him. Murray doesn't look back. He rolls wings level, points southeast toward Bennington, and descends to 500 feet above the ocean. He's done fighting. His engine is overheating, 240 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees above normal operating temperature. Oil pressure is 35 psi, should be 65. The engine will seize in minutes. At 500 feet altitude, Murray sees splashes in the water ahead. The last Zero is firing at him from behind. Long-range shots. Desperate. Murray doesn't maneuver. Every turn costs speed and fuel. He flies straight, betting his damaged Hellcat's armor will stop the rounds. It does. 3 rounds hit his tail. 1 hits the armor plate behind his seat. He feels the impact through the seat back. A sharp thump. The round doesn't penetrate. The Zero breaks off. Murray doesn't know why. Maybe the Japanese pilot is out of ammunition. Maybe he's low on fuel. Maybe he respects the fight Murray gave and lets him go. Murray will never know. 15:51 hours. Murray spots Bennington's wake at 15 miles. He's been flying for 23 minutes on reserve fuel. His fuel gauge reads 0. The needle is pegged left. Below empty. He lowers his landing gear manually. 18 more turns on the crank, his right arm burning with fatigue. The gear locks down. Green lights. At 3 miles, the engine seizes. The propeller freezes. Murray glides the Hellcat toward the carrier at 120 miles per hour, descending at 800 feet per minute. He has one approach. No second chance. The landing signal officer guides him in, paddles waving, calling him lower, slower. Murray drops flaps, bleeds off speed. The Hellcat settles toward the deck at 85 miles per hour.
He catches the two-wire. The Hellcat slams down, hooks the arresting cable, stops in 180 feet. Murray shuts down the fuel selector and electrical systems. Habit, even though the engine is already dead. He sits in the cockpit for 20 seconds. Then he unbuckles and climbs out. The maintenance crew swarms the aircraft. Chief Aviation Machinist's mate Theodore Walsh will later file a detailed damage report. 109 bullet holes in the fuselage, wings, and tail. Right aileron, 3 control cables severed. Hydraulic system, 4 lines cut. Engine, 7 cylinders damaged. Oil pump destroyed. Canopy, 2 bullet holes. 1 pass-through. Right wing, structural damage to 2 ribs. Fuel tanks, empty, showing 0 residual. Bureau number 428744 is written off as total loss. It never flies again.
February 16th, 1945, 16:30 hours. Murray is debriefed by Commander WWII and the Air Group Intelligence Officer. He recounts the engagement: 9 zeros, 8 kills confirmed by his gun camera footage, 1 0 damaged. The intelligence officer asks about Murray's tactics. Murray explains the throttle-chop maneuver, the -G bunt, the gear extension deceleration technique. There is a long silence. Commander WWII says, "You're not to discuss these tactics with anyone. That's an order. Here's why. The throttle-chop and -G maneuvers work once. They're surprise tactics that depend on the enemy not expecting them. If every American pilot started using them, Japanese pilots would adapt. And these techniques are fundamentally dangerous. The -G bunt can cause engine failure. The gear extension trick leaves you slow and vulnerable. They work in desperation, not as doctrine. More importantly, Murray should have disengaged after the first kill. He should have returned to the carrier and reported the enemy formation. Instead, he engaged alone. Successful this time, but tactically unsound. Teaching Murray's tactics to other pilots would encourage lone wolf heroism. The Navy doesn't want heroes. It wants pilots who follow doctrine and come home alive. So the engagement is classified. Murray's squadron mates know he fought zeros. They saw his damaged aircraft, but they don't know the details. The after-action report is marked secret and filed in Bennington's archives. February 28, 1945, Murray receives the Navy Cross, the second highest Navy decoration after the Medal of Honor. The citation mentions extraordinary heroism and 6 confirmed aerial victories, not 8, 6. 2 kills are removed from his record. The Navy doesn't explain why. Murray suspects it's because acknowledging 8 kills would draw attention to the engagement, which is still classified. He doesn't argue.
Murray flies 22 more combat missions before VJ Day. He never encounters Japanese aircraft again. He leaves active duty in November 1945 with 7 confirmed kills, his official record. He returns to Oklahoma, completes his engineering degree, and takes a job with Phillips Petroleum. He doesn't talk about the war. In 1953, Murray joins the Navy Reserve and flies F-9F Panthers during the Korean War. 31 missions, all ground attack. No air-to-air engagements. He retires from the reserve in 1965 as a lieutenant commander. His Navy Cross citation remains classified until 1973, when the Navy declassifies World War II operational records under the 25-year rule. A military historian, Barrett Tillman, finds Murray's after-action report while researching carrier operations for a book. He contacts Murray in 1974. Murray is 53 years old, working as a refinery engineer in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Tillman asks about the engagement. Murray says, "I got lucky. The zeros had bad positioning, and I had altitude. That's all." Tillman presses for details. Murray provides them, methodically, technically, without emotion. He describes the throttle chop, the -G maneuver, the gear extension trick. He notes that none of these should be taught to student pilots. Tillman asks why. Murray says, because they only work if you're willing to die. Most pilots shouldn't be willing to die. In 1982, the Navy reviews Murray's record and restores his 2 deleted kills. His official tally is updated to 8 aerial victories in a single engagement, the 3rd highest single mission total for a U.S. naval aviator in World War II. Murray doesn't attend the ceremony. He sends a letter thanking the Navy and noting that the number doesn't matter, the mission mattered.
Japanese records. In 1987, Japanese Self-Defense Force historians release wartime records identifying the Zero unit Murray engaged, the 252nd Kokutai, operating from Katori Airfield on mainland Japan. 8 pilots are listed as lost on February 16, 1945, in the vicinity of Iwo Jima. Their names are recorded at Yasukuni Shrine in Tokyo. One pilot, Flight Petty Officer Takeo Tanimisu, is recorded as returning with severe aircraft damage and a combat report mentioning lone American fighter, unusual tactics. Tanimisu survived the war and became a commercial pilot. He passed away in 1998. Aircraft status: F-6 F-3 Hellcat, Bureau number 428747, was scrapped at Guam in March 1945. No components survive. However, the aircraft's gun camera footage was preserved and is now held at the National Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida. The footage shows 6 kills. The final 2, engaged below 1,000 feet, were not captured because Murray's camera jammed. Tactical legacy: Murray's engagement is studied at the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School as a case study in energy management and ammunition conservation. The throttle-chop maneuver is taught not as a combat tactic, but as a last resort defensive option. The Navy's conclusion: Murray survived despite his tactics, not because of them. His victory was the result of superior gunnery, situational awareness, and enemy errors, not revolutionary techniques. Murray agreed with this assessment.
Robert Hampton Murray passed away on October 12, 2004, at age 83 in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. His obituary in the Bartlesville Examiner Enterprise mentioned his career at Phillips Petroleum and his service in World War II and Korea. It did not mention the Navy Cross or the 8 zeros. His family donated his medals to the National Naval Aviation Museum. His Navy Cross hangs in a display case alongside his flight log, which contains a single notation for February 16, 1945. Cap: Sector C7, 2.1 hours. Engaged enemy aircraft, RTB, with battle damage. No drama, no embellishment, just the facts, the way Murray would have wanted it. If you found this story worth preserving, consider subscribing. The algorithm promotes content that gets engagement, which means lesser-known stories like Murray's stay buried unless viewers signal they matter. More declassified stories next week.